All right. Good morning. Good morning. This is Steve Weber, the host of American Gumption Morning Show, being broadcast here on Spirituality Gone Wild and on American Gumption Facebook page, also on the American Gumption YouTube channel. So please make sure you subscribe to one of those channels so you get notifications daily. All right. So today is Friday, August 14th, and this is show number 10. So we've wrapping up the second week here, doing live shows, and did 5 last week and did 5 this week. Had 3 guests this week, had 5 guests the first week, although 2 of them appeared on one day. So slight change in a new direction, I think. I'm not having a guest today. And the other 2 shows where I didn't have guests, I monologued for the full hour, and I have made the executive decision to go ahead and just finish this up a little bit early today. So I'll probably be about 30 to 40 minutes long. And when I'm done with the couple of segments I have planned, and then a mini monologue and a slightly longer monologue. And when I'm done the longer monologue, we'll just go ahead and wrap this week up. And, some people like to leave early on Friday. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I don't know whether that'll be the way I do this long term when I don't have a guest. Will I monologue for maybe, basically just the first half of the show and then make a shorter show, or whether I'll end up, doing more of a full hour. We'll just have to play that by ear. You'll have to stick around and find out. So we're making this up as we go along, and we're having fun doing it. That's the key thing. When I think about the Function with Gumption logo, Function with Gumption, the first 3 letters of function are F-U-N, fun. So that's a great reminder for me to always be having fun when I'm obviously doing the show and when I'm living my life. So that's the goal. Let's have some fun. All right. So I have a new segment today that I'm going to do. I don't know whether it'll be a permanent regular session, but I'm thinking it could be. So anyway, it's going to be called a Listen First Friday, and that'll be coming up right after I finish the mini monologue, which comes at the end of this introduction here today. We're also going to talk about we're going to wrap up the Spirituality Gone Wild 3rd anniversary party that was held last Saturday, and I'll just sort of give a recap and summary of all that I talked about the first 4 days, as far as just going through the different pieces of that whole 5-hour event. So I tried to give you a little flavor for what happened each day. And today I'm going to just go ahead and kind of summarize everything and do one more last thing, and then we'll put that together. A little bit of a teaser here. I spoke with Debbie G yesterday, and she told me that there are more events in the works. So we're not going to sit around here at Spirituality Gone Wild, and we're not going to wait for the 4th anniversary to have a big event. We'll be having a couple more big events as the year goes on. So that's the tease. I don't know. I'm not in the inner circle. I don't plan these events. I'm just a morning show host. So, but when Debbie G tells me that there's going to be more events, I believe it, and I'll keep you informed as that goes along. All righty. My short mini monologue is going to be on long form interviews versus the live appearances on the show. And so that's going to come in just a few minutes. So stay tuned. And my main monologue today is going to be on RV Gumption. I'm going to talk about my vision, what I believe RV Gumption is all about and what that stands for. So I've got a couple of things I wanted to make sure. And then I got slides that I'll be showing you as that goes along. So as far as the upcoming, I keep teasing you. I've been teasing this all week that there's interviews in the works, and there are interviews in the works, and I'm getting them scheduled. And last week, at the beginning of last week, the very first week, I just focused on getting that first week of shows done. And so I was focused on that. And when it got to the end of the week, I was like, oh, the anniversary party's tomorrow. And then when I started this week, I didn't have any momentum going per se. So I kind of had to start all over again in terms of developing my own routine. That first week was kind of a special week because it was my first week, and because we were building up to the 3rd anniversary party, and all my hosts were various fellow hosts who came on the show. So that week kind of just flew on by and filled itself in. And then this week I was able to schedule a couple of three great interviews, actually. If you missed Tuesday's, Wednesday's, Thursday show, you know, go back and look in the archives and see it. It's great. I had some great guests on and we had some good conversations. And then anyway, so we're going to get more and more guests lined up. And so that brings me to the mini monologue for today. And that is basically what I'm calling the long form interview versus the short form live interview. And so I initially, the original vision for American Gumption was that I was going to go out on the road and I was going to be meeting people and do interviews, but basically doing a sit down interview and somehow letting them tell their story and interviewing them. As this year developed, I realized that let's just start this thing virtually and let's get going. And so I thought, okay, I can do interviews, online and start sending them out. And they can be under the American Gumption brand, and they will just be interviews, virtual interviews. And so then, of course, I met Debbie G, and she invited me to come to a morning show, and here I am. And so I wanted to keep the idea of the virtual interview and the morning show a little bit of separation, but here's how it's sort of evolved and my thinking has matured on it. So I'm reaching out to people. These are oftentimes people that I've known for years. And so I'm reaching out to them saying, hey, would you like to be a guest on the American Gumption morning show, Spirituality Gone Wild, explain a little bit about what we're doing. Ordinary individuals living extraordinary lives. People are responding to that. That's all great. And so I thought, let's do an interview where we pre-record it, and that could be a little more casual and a little more fun in terms of not having more of a get to know each other and not having a deadline in terms of like, okay, you got to come on at 25 past the hour and you got to go off by 5 minutes to the hour so I can wrap it up. And, so there's less of a time delay. So we just schedule that interview when it makes sense for both myself and the guest. Well, what's happened even since then is a couple of the guests are like, oh, this is cool, but why don't we meet one-on-one for just, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And we kind of get to know each other. Then we'll schedule the longer form interview, and then we'll schedule the morning thing. So the long form interview, I imagine being anywhere from 30 to 45 to 60 minutes. And that's really more of and that'll be available on the American Gumption website for you to access. But that'll be kind of a more casual, free-flowing, us getting to know each other, myself and the guest. And then we bring them back shortly thereafter. Could be the next morning. It could be a few days later. And we basically have now gotten to know each other, and we have a tighter interview. And so the goal is that all the interviews on the American Gumption morning show will be, they'll be, I don't want to say pre-vetted or even pre-planned, because that's not the right thing. But the idea is that we know each other well enough that we can have a focused conversation and really hit those highlights. So that's the vision. So there's long form interviews. They'll be available. They'll be linked from the shorter form interview will be done live here. And sometimes we just have a conversation, like an unrecorded conversation where I meet the interviewee and they get to know me and I get to know them a little better. And we kind of talk about what we're going to talk about. So that's that plan. All righty. Now, I do not have a morning opening theme for this next segment, but it is basically going to be called Listen First Friday. And a couple years ago, I met a fellow named Graham Bodie, and him and I became friends, and we talked about doing some things together. We talked about, the Forrest Gump being part of this listening. And it was really attractive to me at the time because listening is something that I like to think that I've learned to use as a good skill. And I remember one friend of mine once told me, she said, it's not fair when you talk to people because you actually are listening to what they're saying. And so you have an unfair advantage against them because they don't listen to you, but you listen to them. So you know what they're thinking, but they don't understand what you're thinking. So it's not a fair conversation you're having. And I was like, Well, that's sad. If that's a, and that's really the mindset of two people who are separate and who are battling each other, and where one person wins and one person loses. And here at Spirituality Gone Wild, we believe that we are all connected, and that we can all help each other. And it's not like one person wins and one person loses. It's really, how does that rising tide lift all ships? So listening is an important skill. And so anyway, Graham and I met and we talked about it. So I'm going to go ahead and play a nice little video that he shared with me this morning, and I shared out on my Facebook page. Let's see if I can get that to work. And I think it's going, whoops, that's not going to, here we go. Maybe this is it. Well, of course, the live video here, always a little bit challenging to get things to work unless they're perfectly queued up. Don't want that. Going back one more session. I was listening to a call about broadcasting live, and whether you want whether you need to have, if you're a person who can operate behind the scenes at the same time as you're talking, then oops, this is not working at all. So I might have to do it. Let me stop this. Don't want that. And this is, of course, the challenge where just be patient with me. Let's do it one more way here. Okay, I'm going to go to my home page. I'm going to go to my home page, and I'm going to find the video I just posted. I thought I had it queued up. I obviously did not have it queued up. Thank you for being patient with me. Anyway, I was mentioning about StreamYard versus this other Go Live or something that was called like that. And I remember them saying specifically, are you the type of person who can operate stuff behind the scenes, or when you start clicking buttons, do you stop talking? And so that's sort of me, I think. All right, here we go. Let's see if this is going to go live now. And I think the other thing is, don't try to stream from Facebook directly onto these videos. I have to have the thing downloaded and on my computer and queued up. That would be the better thing. Now, is this going to work? I think so. Be patient. Don't click. Young man, 14 years old, and he has a message for all of us.
Welcome you to Listen First Friday. I'm Frank. I'm in 7th grade, and today I want to talk to you about my children's book, Frank, Henry, and the Zuban Band Go to Washington. I draw the drawings, my dad writes the story, and my uncle colors it in. It's all about the power of listening. It's a children's book with a grown-up message. This is a great book about listening, understanding, and respecting one another through the power of listening. So the red and blue team are fighting again, and you are going.
Boy, this is lovely. Lovely live broadcasting in the morning, folks. Sorry about this. All right, not working. We're gonna bail out of that segment, and we're gonna say we're gonna apologize, and we're gonna say that here's the moral of the story. I can stream live a video onto the broadcast, but however, trying to do it through Facebook and getting things to download and do it, my computer obviously doesn't have enough bandwidth to do that and to make it work. And so I would have to have that video already on my computer and ready to go, just like I play the introduction themes or the closing themes or other themes. So we'll just have to bail out on that and say it was a good try, or it wasn't a good try. And here we go. All right. So Next segment is going to be the 3rd anniversary of Spirituality Gone Wild and the wrap-up party. So this I'm ready for, because this I have all queued up and ready to share with you. So on Monday, I talked about the big picture, and it was their 3rd anniversary party. Here's that homepage. Debbie G created a PDF, lots and lots of pages, all the hosts, all the people connected to it, all the sponsors, a massive undertaking on her to throw it all together. Schedule that included different guests, musical acts, people coming and going, backstage, green rooms or breakout sessions going on. All of this was taking place, and like anything, there was a few hiccups, but it worked pretty darn good. So we had a great time. So then here is Debbie G. She is the person who put it all together. She has many shows that she appears on throughout the week. Over the years, since the 3 years, she's done a morning show. She's done a show at night. She keeps on expanding her reach in terms of the things that she's doing. So thank you. She was the one who made this really all happen. The co-founder of Spirituality Gone Wild, Karen Palmer, was also obviously very much involved, although it was Debbie's behind the scenes work that made it all come together. Karen has a lot of connections within the industry, and it is Karen who has put together the alliances that Spirituality Gone Wild enjoys with many of these other networks. Now, I believe Debbie's also much involved with that, but in terms of some of the things that one does and one that the other does, that's how I'm so far figuring this out. Now, the keynote opening speaker was David Gershon, and it's David's vision for Peace on Earth 2020, and this is a big project, and this is like a lot of the people in this spiritual world are all like focusing on how can we make the world a better place. Well, David's one of those guys who is actually doing something really big, in terms of dreaming big. And so these Spirituality Gone Wild, Unify, other groups of people doing this type of work are all rallying behind David and his vision for Peace on Earth 2020. That's coming up at the end of September, and I will be working to try to get David on the show to share with us as that gets closer. Now, John Raymer is the gentleman who is behind the Sign Network, one of the primary sponsors of our party. And the Sign Network is an organization that is actually, from a technology point of view, bringing all of these spiritual entrepreneurs together and allowing them connect in a way that they can then share each other's information and grow the business. John, his partner in life and in business is his wife, Summer Joy Raymer. And so she is also very involved in all of the having different shows, and of course some of that behind the scenes stuff in making everybody come together. So much like Karen is the driving, is a part of that connection out from Spirituality Gone Wild to all these pieces. Summer does something similar from what I can tell. Now, on Tuesday, I talked about all the hosts, and I'm only going to show you David Strickle, the Stream of David. His show is on Wednesday night. I'm letting him represent myself and all of the other hosts who some of them you've met here. And the reason why I picked David is he has been with Spirituality Gone Wild the longest, not from the very, very beginning, but certainly over 2 full years now. And I believe he's the host who has had the longest running show here on Spirituality Gone Wild. And then there's a whole lot of people on Thursday. I showed you all of the women. Well, they weren't all women, but men, but all of the spiritual people who are doing big things out there and part of the Unify Women Rising Saturday morning show. And this is Michaela Sophia Lev. She is the producer of the G Fest Goddess Rising event that's coming up at the beginning of October. So I'm hoping Michaela will come on board and share with us. But there was a whole lot of other women who were, we talked about them yesterday, and they are all involved with, they've got their own vision. So Michaela's vision is this G-Fest event that happens in early October, and other people have their own events. And of course, everybody likes to support each other and encourage the work. So that is, that was what we talked about on Thursday. Now on, I think it was Wednesday, I talked about all the musical acts that came on, and I'm just going to give a shout out to the Plow Zone Gone Wild and the Scott brothers, Scott Reese and Scott Plowman, and their show is on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 in the East. And they are responsible for bringing all the musical acts, or at least they were responsible for most of the musical acts that appeared on our event on there. So there's a lot of people who donated their time and energy and come on appear regularly on the different shows. Fantuzzi as just one example. Fantuzzi's the gentleman who at 17 appeared on the stage of Woodstock playing guitar in the Jimi Hendrix band. So that's pretty cool stuff. All righty. And finally, I want to give a shout out to our MC that day, Mr. Prince Fleet Easton out of Palm Springs and the LA area, who did a great job of emceeing from the very beginning until the very end, along with our own Debbie G as co-MCs that day. Made it all happen. And last but not least, all the sponsors, specifically Advanced Therapeutic Services, the Sign Network, and Unify. Those three I want to specifically mention as really helping to make that possible. So that wraps up my story about our event last Saturday. And again, what a great day that was. This Saturday, I don't have anything scheduled. I think I might just maybe relax a little bit and give myself a full day to kind of regroup. So, all righty, that's that. So today's main monologue is going to be about RV Gumption. And I decided to talk a little bit about that because it's really where I started from it. And if you take a look at this vision I have of all the different brands, Gumption brands, you can see American Gumption over on the left-hand side. The bottom left is the member site, and then the Speaking Gump. And underneath that, Changed by Gumption, Technology Gumption. Those are really my speaking and consulting. And that's how I've been earning my living the last multiple years as a speaker, a consultant, a coach, and an RV Gumption. And I did want to. I had the idea that I was going to just travel around, meet people, and somehow tell their story. And it evolved into ordinary individuals living extraordinary lives. I figured I'd jump in this RV and drive around, and it would have, the different logos. Now, this particular RV shows my brands and my logos, but imagine if there's sponsors who I'm representing, and you have that big American Gumption logo on it, and then you have the different, the different people that I'm helping to, promote by them offering their sponsorship to this show. And this cause, so that I can bring you these morning radio shows, and I can bring you the produced videos down the road. So that's kind of the vision that way. Let's see here. So I'm going to meet these people, and the thing that I really like to talk to them about is what opportunity came into their life that kind of changed everything. What choice did they make in their life that changed everything? Or in their journey of life, as they went from one life chapter to the next life chapter, especially that transition moment, that point where, they were living one life, and then they somehow went into the neutral zone. I talked about the neutral zone earlier this week. And then they ended up into their next life chapter. And so that transition always involves an opportunity that comes along and a choice that you make. So that's kind of the the whole big vision of this talking and the conversations that I would have with people. Whoops, we've wrapped up and we've covered that. So now I'm going out in the RV and I'm living there, and here's what I thought. I mean, this picture here just shows like the inside of the RV. You can see in the front, that's where you drive the darn thing. That's how you make it move. And in the back, there's a bed, and you sleep, and in between the right in front of the bedroom, there's a bathroom, and then there's a galley, always where you can cook. And then there's this dinette area and sofa area. And underneath the layout, there's a sofa area and an area. And so my vision is that I will take that sofa, somehow remove it from the RV and replace it with some types of chairs or different, like basically make that a set for doing recording. So I can imagine a table, I can imagine a chair or two, and some cameras and some lights, and basically you set this thing up and you conduct interviews inside of it. Now this next slide shows this is a broadcast studio in some type of some kind of a typical city station, TV station, and they have an area where they have a couch and they have a couple of chairs, and depending on whether they have like one guest or they have two guests, they can reconfigure it to make it fit. And all you do is you just move a sofa over, and they have places that you put them on the floor. And so everything's already predetermined. Then they roll the camera up. And so the lighting's all up there. And so they have that all figured out. And so you can conduct a one-on-one interview, or you can conduct an interview where there's two people sitting, with each other. So, and again, maybe a couple different cameras to get the focus on the interviewees, one to focus on the interviewer. So somehow I figure my RV needs to be equipped and look like that. And it doesn't have to be, a full broadcast studio like that. I mean, I can just have some basic, some basic lighting, some basic camera equipment, and I can just set that stuff up myself, turn it on, and then record it, and then of course have some type of a computer setup that I can do some editing and send it off. All right, so that was sort of the vision of how I thought this thing all can and will work. And so it's just a matter of, time until I make that all come together. I've got a wish list. I've got a couple things that I need to have happen to make that work. And, I see that there'll be, already I can see that there's problems or challenges, let's call them challenges, with connectivity. Here I am in a house with Wi-Fi, and I'm trying to broadcast, and yet I don't really have enough power to, run a video in the background while I'm broadcasting at the same time. And so I'm learning about what limitations I have. Now, let's magnify that. Now I'm out on the road and I'm connecting with Wi-Fi. I'm using my phone hotspot as the way to connect to the internet, and I haven't really tried that yet. So I don't even know if I could broadcast this show that way. So maybe I end up needing to get some kind of a satellite dish on the top of my RV and point it up to a satellite and have it, I'm fixed. You've all seen live broadcast news vans from your local ABC, NBC, Fox channel go down and to a reporting, and they stop the van and they spiral up that little antenna and they point it at a satellite, and then they can do quality broadcasting. I may need something like that to make this work. So I don't know. I'll have to figure all that out. So that's number one on my wish list, or number one on my things that I need to, get good at. I need to figure out how that's going to work, because right now I'm already limited, and I'll be even more limited as I go out on the road. The second thing is I'm going to need a producer for this show. somebody to kind of operate what's happening simultaneously, someone to read the comments and share the comments on screen. There's a lot more that could be done, but as you can see from earlier today, when I have to actually push the buttons and make things happen, I lose my train of thought. And so one of the things that will happen is I'll end up finding someone who I can work with on a regular basis who has the same vision of American Gumption, but would be happy to work behind the scenes, and we'll make that work. So that's out there now. I need a partner video production company. I realize that I can't turn on the camera and follow people around and interview them at the same time, and then come back and write the script and then do all the editing and then, compile the video and do it all. So, and I see this as more of a broadcast quality production that could be run on a network or on my own channel. Maybe AmericanGumption.tv down the road. We'll figure that out. But obviously my skill will be in setting up and communicating with people and having the conversation and getting them to feel comfortable while we're talking, but not necessarily running all of the behind the scenes things. So looking for some type of video production company that can partner with me. And finally, I'm looking for an RV partner. And that could be a dealership. It could be a manufacturer. It could be some kind of an RV park or destination. It could be an RV rental organization. So somebody, though, that as I'm out there, doing what I'm doing, they're one of the main sponsors, and I will do work for them. And I'm not asking them to just, give me an RV. I'm asking them to basically say, like, how can we work out some kind of an arrangement where I will help promote your business and grow your business and do it in a ethical, fun way. And then, I'll be able to, continue to broadcast this more and more. And so that could be an ongoing relationship, one that happens that way. So that's really what I'm thinking about here on Friday, August 14th, 2 weeks into the American Gumption morning show. All those pieces are going to come together. When I launched the American Gumption website a month ago, I said, I just need to put it out there because it needs to come true. I had a landing page for a year that talked about American Gumption, and it was time to do that. Already my American Gumption website needs to be updated to include, what's happening on this show on a regular basis. And then some of that stuff that's currently there can kind of get put away to where people who are interested in going deep can go deep. And then, but just people who want to know what's happening that day will be able to get that right at the top of the page. So those things are all in progress. So a lot of technology stuff going behind the scenes. Thank goodness I'm partnered with Spirituality Gone Wild, because otherwise this morning show would not be possible. And of course I need some other partners that will come on board. And finally, I guess I'll just say that, in my monologue yesterday talked about, living alcohol free. And so it was 3.5 years ago when I said, hey, I'm gonna, I'm playing small, as a result of, feeling like I need to have, a drink at the end of the day to transition from, the work day to the relaxed day. And so I said, I need to learn how to relax in a different way. I need to, not always be taking one step forward and one step back, because then that keeps me playing small. I need to be playing much bigger, putting myself out there. And I did say that I'm convinced that had I continued on that same path that I had been on for 25 plus years, that I would probably still be playing on that same path, or I would still be walking, crawling on that same path. And now that, you put yourself on a different path, suddenly things are happening. So all those things are going to happen in the next few months, and certainly in the next year. And that's the vision of RV Gumption. So I thank you for letting me take just a few minutes to explain that. Some of those pieces maybe I can use on the rvgumption.com website as a, to let people know what it is about. So we're all trying to do good in the world. We're all trying to make the world a better place. And we're I'm going to just keep working at it until we get there with it. All righty. So that's really all I have to say about today's show. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm going to thank you. It's what are we at? We're about 10:35. And so today's a shorter day. And maybe from here on out, whenever I don't have a guest, I'm only going to do a 30 to 40 minute show, or maybe we do maybe we do a longer show. There are no specific rules that I have to follow other than you show up and, be kind, be loving, be gentle, be generous. And, but that's what we all have to do every day in all of our lives. So, all right, go out there, be kind. And, I will promise, here's what I'm going to promise. By next Friday, I will introduce Listening First Friday in a way that makes more sense. It was a last minute thing that I tried to do, and that surprised me in terms of, or it didn't surprise me. It showed me that throwing something in at the last minute untested probably isn't the right way to go. All right, folks, have a great day, and we'll see you on Monday.